by the way, for our guest of the next 10 or so minutes, Ryan McGee, joining me here at Media Days. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
It's good. It's great. It's we're kind of, what's awesome is that we're talking ball.
Yeah.
We're not talking about spreadsheets, and then I don't know if you guys are, but I'm not.
Well.
I like Marty and I. We're doing our talking season specials for, I guess it's the 8th time we've done them now.
Sure.
And we made a conscious decision last week. We're like, we ain't gonna talk to any of these guys about transfer portal, or I want to talk to them about football.
Yeah.
And or at least what we love about football, because I think fans are getting to kind of this breaking point of getting tired of everything feels like a business meeting.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, the off season is the least fun it's ever been.
Ever been, because all we're talking about is money. And so now that's our job, is to try to get these guys back to some fun.
By the way, weird seeing you guys apart. I thought you were just kind of joined at the hip at all times.
Yeah, no. It's I always say I have two marriages. I have my wife in Charlotte, and then I have my work wife, which is Marty on the road.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Again, Ryan McGee joining us here for the next couple minutes. Let's talk South Carolina real quick. Obviously, you're very close to the program. Does your daughter still go to the school?
She is a rising senior.
Awesome.
Which is crazy. She's going to probably be listening, and is going to be she's going to criticize whatever I have to say today.
Fair enough. Again, we've talked about it so much this offseason. Big critical year for Coach Beamer coming off the 4-8. What do you see out of this team? Where do you think their ceiling is for 2026?
Well, I don't believe the team could win the SEC, but I think this team is going to be good enough to be a wrecking ball, right? I think they could be in the conversation all year, because I think they're way more dangerous than people realize, because last year was such a disappointment. I was just talking to some folks in Alabama and Arkansas about this. They both asked, what's the story we're not talking about now that the conference will be talking about in November? I said Lenora Sellers, because if the Lenora Sellers that we all saw in the Clemson game 2 years ago, if we tap back into that guy, and I think that Briles can do that, then again, I don't know if he's good enough to win the league, but I know he's good enough to ruin the season for a lot of people. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the idea of an unbridled Lenoris. And honestly, too, and this is no secret, I remember at the Kentucky game, I came over to the game to see Parents Weekend, came over to the game to see my daughter.
Yep.
And prior to the game, I was talking to the coaches, and I talked to Lenoris for a few minutes, and then the conversation I had with everyone was, yes, they could be more creative with him offensively, but he's also got to do it himself. What they need for Lenoris to take over that locker room a little bit and be more vocal. And he's not that kind of guy,
right?
But he needs to do that, and this is the year to do it. So I think he has the potential to be the biggest wrecking ball in college football that no one's talking about right now.
Hey, Ryan, Wes Mitchell back in the studios in Columbia. Appreciate you taking the time. We got to send your daughter out with a few more wins this year, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy in charge of doing everything you were just talking about will be Kendall Briles. What do you expect from a Briles offense based on what we've seen over the years? And I would say especially going back to some of the stuff he was doing at Arkansas with K.J. Jefferson, I got to imagine there's going to be a little bit of carryover there.
Yeah, it's just his creativity, and he comes from, for folks that don't know, I mean, obviously his dad Art, had with RG3 and all those legendary offenses at Baylor, but he comes from that Mike Leach, Hal Mumme, air raid deal, and so what it is creating open space. And I think one of the it's funny, I'm working on this book project right now. It's all about 100 years ago college football, and when they finally opened up offenses, the goal of the single wing and the goal of the double wing and all that was just to create open space and to get the ball out there. That's all the air raid does.
Yeah.
And so I think that what we're going to see is we're going to see opportunities for Lenoris, not just to have more targets. And it's going to be a lot of 9-yard passes. Everybody just get ready for that. But I also think it's now the threat of all these spaces that, there's potential touchdown scorers in there, is that opens up for Lenoris to use his legs. And so that's what's going to – it's just creativity. I love Mike Shula. Nicest guy in the world. My dad, as you guys know, was a college football official forever. We had the most hilarious picture of Mike Shula lighting up my dad on the sideline at a game down in Alabama. Great guy. But it's very much an NFL, not very creative – offensive process. And if the only frustration you'll have with Briles is he might try some stuff that you think, what are you doing, dude? And so I think the openness to creativity is what people are going to, hopefully.
Sure.
Ryan, it's Chris. I want to go bigger picture in the league. Checked out something you put together that was Year of the Quarterback, kind of video essay that you did a while back, which was good stuff that you did here recently. How good do you think compared to some of the other years? We've seen a lot of great quarterbacks come through this league. Is this one of the stronger years, just top to bottom, at that position that you've seen?
Yeah, and you got this mix of guys with all this experience, and you put Lenoris in that group, and you certainly put Arch Manning in that group. I think Arch Manning, has lived with this his whole life. He's fine, but the hype around him has been the hype around him, but he's also pretty good. And so I think that we kind of, I appreciate you bringing up the essay, we kind of have this perfect mix of guys that have been in the league for a long time, and then you got, guys who are really, really talented at places like Tennessee, but have never thrown a college pass. And so, top to bottom, I don't think anyone in the league right now doesn't have a quarterback that they believe in. We just have a very level of experience. But, I think the potential in this league, quarterback-wise, is through the roof.
Well, when you mentioned some of those younger guys, Keelan Russell at Alabama, who we assume might be the starter, Faison Brandon at Tennessee, is there a younger guy or somebody with a lot of experience like a Kenny Minchie that you're high on that could really kind of enter into that top level of quarterback by the end of the season?
Minchie's the guy. No, and again, because I think it's going to be interesting this year, because I think there's a handful of those guys where they quietly have more reps than people realize, and now they're going to have the opportunity to take over the team.
Sure. He was only guilty not be better than C.J. Carr.
Exactly right. And it's interesting because, these guys are so much smarter than they ever have been. And, even in the NFL, we got Super Bowls with rookie quarterbacks, right? I would have never imagined that in my life. And we have one with two. And so now in college football, if you had come to me even 5 years ago and said that all these freshmen are going to have these opportunities, or all these second-year guys are going to have these opportunities, I would have, not at the schools you're talking about. I mean, maybe at a USF down the road here, like even at Auburn. You got Alex Golish, and brought his quarterback with him.
Yep.
And to me, it's all about the familiarity of it. And I think about, I moved to Traverse Rest in the middle of high school, right? I moved from Raleigh down there. And I always say, if you can walk into a high school cafeteria your first day of junior year not knowing anyone, the rest of life is a piece of cake. And these transfers do this all the time. But now the system is set up for them to succeed versus when all this started. And JUCOs would come in, or guys would transfer schools, and you spend a year just figuring out where the bathrooms are. And now there's a familiarity level with some of these young guys, with their coaches, because they came with them. And then there's also they're just so much smarter than they used to be, man. It makes me mad because we all thought we were smart back in the day, but I couldn't have done any of this.
Sure.
Hey, Ryan, I've been diving into South Carolina's SEC opener with Mississippi State. I feel like that's a dangerous game that almost has to be won at home by South Carolina. But what can you tell people while we're on quarterbacks about Kamario Taylor? Just a dangerous skill set there that South Carolina will be really their first test of the year in week 3 for them.
No, so when my dad was a college football official, he would call games like this $1 million ball games. Mm-hmm. Because a game right here, this reminds me of the North Carolina game, not to bring up any pain, but the North Carolina game 2 years ago.
I had the same thought.
Game South Carolina should have won, but what if that as a tone-setting game for what the year is going to be. And Mississippi State and South Carolina are in a very similar boat. And by the way, it's going to be an emotional game because for folks that don't know, the head coach of Mississippi State is married into the Briles family.
Yep.
And so these guys spend Thanksgivings together, Christmases together. So no, I'm with you on that. And what people need to know is those offenses are going to look very familiar. If Carolina is able to do what I think they're going to, or what they're going to want to do, if they can do that early in the year, then there's going to be a lot of mirror effect with those offenses. But no, this is it is not just a dangerous game; it is an important game, and it is right off the bat.
Well, Ryan, man, I know you got to run real quick. NASCAR pick for a Cup champion this year. It's been a fun year so far.
Hey, Ryan Blaney's coming, boys. Now,
Sneaky.
I've been telling everybody all year, watch it. How that guy is not like a mega star. He's handsome. He's got that baritone voice. He's married to Miss Hawaiian Tropic World.
Yep.
He got a Darth Vader tattoo the size of your face on his thigh. I'm a big Star Wars guy, and so it's Blaney's coming. Yep. And that wouldn't hurt me at all. Hurt my feelings off. He'll win a second championship.
Man, it's gonna be a fun chase coming up. Thanks for hanging out with us. Know you got to run.
Y'all the
Always
best.
Appreciate you being on.
Absolutely, appreciate it, boys.
Ryan McGee there of ESPN joining us here at SEC Media Days.